Yeah, look, bear in mind, this was supposed to be a briefing on the BBC's annual report. All of the QA was almost entirely dominated by journalists wanting some clarity from the BBC, some answers to the questions that we're all asking. And I'm not entirely sure that we're any clearer as a result of that. Tim Davie, Director General, firstly started by saying because the Met Police are assessing what's going on at the moment, they have advised the BBC to pause its investigation, which for those reasons alone the BBC were not forthcoming, if you like, really, in giving much information about what they have ascertained really with this case. They have, though, published a timeline of exactly who knew what when, which you have already set out. But look, the investigations team that they explain how they swung into action, the amount of times they tried to verify the complainant that had approached them, it doesn't make for particularly sort of reassuring reading of how the investigations team had swung into action. So on the 18th of May, the complainant came to the BBC to make these claims about this unnamed presenter. On the 19th of May, the corporate investigations team were alerted. They ascertained that this was serious enough for them to look into, but they didn't decide at that stage that anything criminal had taken place. So basically the process that happened was all about verifying the identity not of the young person in question, but of the people that were making the complaint. And in doing so, they sent an email on the 19th of May. Didn't do anything else until the 6th of June when they made a phone call, which we're told didn't connect. And then after that, it appears that while the case remained open, nothing happened until on the 6th of July, a whole month later, the Sun newspaper then published its allegations, and then they swing into action, if you like. But certainly the delays in just verifying the identity of the people that were making the complaint certainly does merit the process that the Director General has now said, which will look into how complaints are red flagged. So the BBC investigation has been paused. What we know, though, is that several questions were put to the Director General about why the presenter remains unnamed, whether or not they are prepared that perhaps under privilege the presenter might end up being named in Parliament. The Director General said because of a duty of care, they are considering things like the impact that would have and the impact on the presenter's privacy, but they are also taking into account the public interest of things like that. But Tim Davie said that it would be unwise to go through various scenarios of what may or may not happen. He wouldn't be drawn on whether or not any other people have come forth to make complaints about the presenter since this. He was asked whether or not he had spoken to the presenter in question, and he said, put simply, no. And he said he wouldn't go into the specifics of whether or not the presenter now is being given any sort of package of support. But he said as a corporation on the whole, they do provide excellent levels of assistance for anyone because they have these duty of care steps in place. But really, I mean, I think the shocking thing is that timeline. While we now know that the investigations team looking into this were taking this seriously, the detail that they go into of how quickly they acted or didn't, by all accounts, it is quite shocking to see that it doesn't seem like beyond an email and one phone call which didn't connect, they didn't seem to do a lot really here.